Hi folks, Donna Bob here, back in the Lost Kingdom Park, and today we're doing an episode entitled Lagerstatten Animals. I'll tell you what that is if you don't already know a bit deeper into the video. We're going to set out into the park as if we were coming up to the main entrance and go see our first animal in the park. We're going to go in through the accessibility challenged entrance as if we have our gate transponders and go through the gates, up the ramps, and get ourselves reoriented at the right level, and out through the gates into the park. And before we finally actually get into the park, we will have a chance to look at our animals more closely than the general public does. Sure, they can stand on the upper part of that platform and look over where we'll be into where the animals are, but we're right down here next to them. Let's get down to viewing level here. And they've obligingly decided to come hang out in this corner for us. I don't know why. Usually the animals are difficult about showing up for their camera appearances. So you can see the ruins that are part of their exhibit. There's a hay bed under there. So they have a little bit of shelter in the park. And that's looking back. You can see that there's an information sign for our guests to read while they're in this section. And now we can head out to the park proper. Get ourselves lined up here. Learning the controls on these wheelchairs is sometimes problematic. Anyway, out there and across the way there you see the other animal we're going to be looking at today. And my attempt at a fountain with the water things, it's not entirely successful. I really wish they had a water spout, which I'd like to have coming out of that vase. And in front of us, the no-see-um green tarps hiding parts of the park that I've been working on that aren't ready for viewing today. So let's go to the main viewing platform for the Psittacosaurus. I like choosing this animal as a beginning animal because it has an exceptionally preserved specimen, which is telling us a lot of information about this animal. And this skin is based on that particular specimen, which does preserve some color information, remarkable soft tissue pieces, the quills on the tail, the patagium on its hind leg. It's like that stretchy bit on the wing bones of your dinner chicken. Sort of what we'd call it an elbow, but in this animal it's on the back of the thigh. And it even has an impression of its cloaca preserved. So we're going to cruise through the thing. We checked to make sure there were no guards around before we jumped the fence and jumped in here. And this is the back part of this exhibit. There's a little runway here to the building where the animals can be brought if needed to weather rough conditions. So we'll hurry up back to the exhibit because this is a relatively long video and we got a lot to cover. This is their water hole, and so I'm mixing some of our animal shots in at the same time as we're doing the general walkthrough. Get to see them do some of their things. These animals have a strong tendency to not look where they're going. I'm not sure why the Psittacosaurus does it and a lot of other animals don't. And this guy has gotten up onto the ruin, in part I think because of that modular plant, because he stands on that periodically. But it's kind of a neat visual effect. They do tend to be pretty good climbers in the game. One tucking his way out of that little runway. At one point, and you may have glimpsed it in the last video, there was one on top of that dome. He had glitched up there somehow and then had no path off. So I had to bring him down. It's like getting your cat stuck in a tree. But you know, the glitching that these animals are doing is probably going to be, no, you're not going to go back out there again. You're just going to walk into the corner, aren't you? Look around and come right back. Okay. They're nice chirpy boys. So in a lot of ways, they also would fulfill some of the role that flamingos do in modern zoos. They are often near the entrance because they're exuberant birds and make a lot of noise and draw people in. So you kind of want that in your zoo to get people through the gate and involved with the animals quickly. So these guys were doing a lot of cruising back and forth while I was trying to film them doing something interesting. Just sort of crisscrossing the exhibit. And half the time I would think they were going to go get themselves something to eat, and they just walk through the food tray. I thought one of these guys were going to go take a nap and get lucky. And you can see this one walking in onto the hay bed and turning around and walking right out. The use of the hay beds is not coded into them just yet, I think. But it'll be coming. It'll be coming. And I managed, one has gone in there, so we caught him here while these other two were sitting down. Some of them poop while they're sitting down, apparently. How edifying. Anyway, you know, they do kind of look around. I think that little look toward the thigh there is one of the new incidental animations, and that look over all the way around over the shoulder. I wonder if that's a Psittacosaurus only thing to demonstrate the flexibility of its neck. I really do like the way these guys tend to, excuse me, voice a little rough today. Their climbing thing, they share it with Protoceratops and early Triceratopsian, as opposed to this guy who, while he's a marginal cephalian, he is not a ceratopsian. Chirp chirp. So this view lets you see the people coming into the zoo from the Psittacosaurus point of view. Oh, on the runoff. There they go. Feel a little bit like a wildlife cameraman there, trying to spin that camera fast enough to keep them in view, and only having gradations of success. So did catch one eating finally, doing the usual thing of burying his head in the food. And they're back to cruising back and forth. There's an animal locomotion update in the future. The exact timing is unclear at this point, and they want to improve some of the things they're doing, so maybe they won't walk on modular plants anymore. So let's get back out of the exhibit and continue our tour down the other side of the ramp, and you can see her come around here, and the path goes through the green screen, and to our right there is a door to the backstage portion of the park, or one of the backstage portions. And this will take us back to the fountain court with its somewhat wonky fountain. I'm afraid I think the water effects are the weakest stuff the developers have done. They're set, the splashes especially, are set for a gigantic scale, and it's fine for Victoria Falls, but it makes for a terrible fountain. Way too much splashing. So the other building across the fountain court there is related to the name of this episode. You can see there's a sort of back gate connected to it, and we'll get there. We're going to go in the main door, the first one that our guests will come to. And you can see up top, that's a Microraptor silhouette. And inside is the name of the exhibit, the Lagerstatten Legacy. Lagerstatten, and there's posters inside that explain it if you can read fake type. Lagerstatten is a fossil deposit where the animals and plants are exceptionally preserved. And I figure that this would be a prime source for the sort of thing that Paleogenes, the nominal company that produces these prehistoric kingdoms, would get material to produce the animals that they recreate. So this is the lobby area. You can see the poster for the film that's being shown, and some general stuff about fossils, so you can help understand just how fabulous Lagerstatten fossils are. So we'll pop inside the theater, and showing something about Microraptor right now. And I also would imagine that the keepers would occasionally bring a Microraptor in here for a talk, something on the order of someone taking a hawk on a glove out to talk to people. As long as the keeper takes care with the animal and pays attention to its moods, everything's perfectly safe. So you see Psittacosaurus over there in the bottom of that poster. Yeah, sneaky reference to his good preservation. And we have decals on the windows. Those are actually Archaeopteryx. Help keep the animals from flying through it. The passageway has ropes dangling down, which is my way of suggesting one of those curtains that keep the animals from coming through, but people can brush their way through. And we have two important guideline signs for not losing fingers and not losing animals, because animals are usually on controlled diets, and when people feed them their food, it can kill them. Not a good plan for something you just resurrected after umpty diddle million years. So we have smaller signs out here for helping people see. Oh, there goes one. Helping people get informed about the animals they're walking through. You can see the not generally open to the public gallery through the wire there. The lower part of that wire is not the chicken wire mesh that comes with the game. That is a modular build I did to represent one of those strong wire fences that are often used in aviaries and other exhibits that are a little bit easier to see through and take pictures through, but still keep the animals from going through it. And allows air to pass through, so you can hear the animals, smell them, and occasionally get a breeze. So I have 4 of the aviaries in here, 4 animals in each, to make sure there's always a little something going on somewhere in here. Got one climbing there now. I think the last sequence in this will be, the full flight cycle. But it was proving tricky to find them doing something. There goes the start of a flight, and trying to be a good cameraman and pull back and catch the other half. I didn't pull back far enough, but you may have seen him coming in over the top on the right for landing, and just didn't see all of that. And they all have their feeders, so you'll occasionally catch them either on the feeding tray or on top of the feeder. And there we go. So he parks for a little while, and then he'll come around, and didn't get it framed right because he's on the ground and headed back to the tree to climb back up. Limited animations on these, but you know, if you're not going to spend all day staring at them, it adds a feeling of motion to your park, much more so than things just sitting in trees. So I don't know what's, I don't know. Yeah, having trouble remembering what was next in the video. He hops back to his launch position. Yeah, there he goes. So I added additional foliage in here to make it seem more, to blend it in better, so that things work out, and it's less obvious where exactly the aviary elements are. So this is, we're going to go out this way. Obviously people can come in, and there's your evidence that guests can walk through these ropes. And the animals stay in their aviary space, so we don't actually have to worry about them getting out. And you know, there are some people who won't go in exhibits like this. They don't want to be that close to the animals for whatever reason. So we need to have a space where they can view the animals, and signs for them to be informed about them as well. It's a, you know, I think this has got a pretty nice park kind of vibe in the presentations there. I'm not sure why I inadvertently selected things there, but you know, I did. I probably could use some more landscaping in here. I don't know if you see those little circles there. Those are red key ground lights. So if anyone visits this at night, they can find the path. And we're coming back out to the Fountain Plaza. But before we leave, I want to share with you one of the struggles I'm having with this park. You know, I've got this building in place. Actually, two things I want to share. One is the struggle with the space between the entrance building and this structure. And then the, you know, I want to put something back here, maybe a garden or a patio. And the other thing is using the fence as a wall. So this is one of the fences on the right, and I've added one of the arch shape modular pieces colored red to create this kind of alleyway and wall for the care facility attached to this aviary. And you can see that in this aerial shot, which gives you a good view of the Fountain Plaza and the mini aviary complex and theater and Lagerstatten exhibit. So this is an aerial showing the Psittacosaurus habitat. They give you an idea of how things are laid out. I think that's important to aspiring park builders. So we'll pull out one more time and see all of it together. And that'll be pretty much it for this one. I will be back next week, I believe, with on Friday with another Lost Kingdom video. Until then, you all be well, take care, be kind to each other, drop a like, subscribe if you haven't already, make a comment. I really would like to get some feedback from folks. Thanks for stopping by. Bye now.